sex, periods, wombs, vaginas. How many of you are already feeling quietly uncomfortable or awkward? That discomfort is exactly why I am here. For decades, my body has been a taboo, and today, I'm breaking it. My name is Wani Ardy, and this is my story. But before I begin, I want to start with a confession, a letter. Umi, I didn't want to be rare. I didn't want to be special. I didn't want to be unique. I didn't want to be different. I wanted to be just like everybody else. I wanted to be the same. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to belong. I wanted to feel like there's nothing wrong. I didn't tell you because I didn't know how to without hurting you. Umi, I'm sorry I was such a difficult kid. I was trying to understand this body God gave me. I was trying to make sense of it all. Because it terrified me to imagine what people would think of me, what the future holds for me. Umi, I'm sorry I made it all about me. I felt so alone. I forgot you were alone. Umi, I know nobody said this to you, but it wasn't your fault. I know people question you what did you do when you were pregnant with her? But it wasn't your fault. I know you doubted yourself. You blamed yourself when you heard my diagnosis. But it was not your fault. Umi, you are enough. What you did for me is more than enough. You brought me from hospital to hospital, doctor to doctor. Not once did you give up until you got a clear answer. I cannot thank you enough. And now that I am no longer that little girl, from your eyes I see the world. Why you were so worried? Why you were so protective? Because the truth is, God didn't create me to be ordinary. Maybe I was born without a vagina and without a uterus. But I was certainly born with your strong will and your resilience. The year was 2000. I was diagnosed with MRKH syndrome, Mayer-Rokitansky-Kuster-Hauser syndrome. A rare disorder of sexual development, no uterus, no vagina. I am one in 5,000 girls around the world. And so at the age of 17, I became a taboo. Doctor's appointments often made me feel like I was a spectacle. You sound like a girl. You walk like a girl. Can you take off your clothes? Doctor number 1. Your physical is all female, but inside, you're something else. Doctor number 2. I wonder if this is a type of intersex. Do you like boys? Doctor number 3. This only happens to 1 in every 5,000 girls. And it's my first time seeing this. I've got to call my colleague. Doctor number 4. And quite literally, he dialed his friend to come over and have a look at me like I was some kind of a museum piece. At that very moment, I knew I was not like the other girls. 2014. After over a decade of struggling with shame, silence, harassment, and even sexual assault, I broke. I got help, and then I built. I founded MRKH Malaysia, a support group for girls like me, and we began with 2 members. Today we are 200. See, when you have 200 Malaysian women with a rare disorder, in our case, it essentially means we have reached 1 million Malaysian women. So it is estimated that there are about 3,000 women living with MRKH in Malaysia. But most of them either undiagnosed, misdiagnosed, or hiding. Why hiding? Because out there are people who called us kunsa, pondan, half female, incomplete, or perempuan tak siap. Because people tell us that our condition is shameful. Because when a teenage girl is diagnosed, sometimes the mother would drag her to a bomo, a shaman, who lays hands on her in ways that are anything but holy. Many of my MRKH sisters have experienced being abused, harassed, touched without consent, all in the name of curing us. This is not just a medical condition. This is a war against stigma. 2017, we found more girls like us in Indonesia, in Singapore, and we began working with UKM, the National University of Malaysia. We help not just MRKH patients, but also their partners, their families. 2019, I flew to Australia to speak at the Global MRKH Day conference in Melbourne. I stood there as the only Malaysian MRKH woman on stage, telling the world we exist. 2022, finally we MRKH Malaysia and UKM signed an MOU, which leads to UKM being MRKH hub in Malaysia. In fact, the only one, even until today. And so in 2023, we started working towards uterine transplant in Malaysia. A medical breakthrough that could allow women like me to carry children without altering lineage or ancestry. But do you know what one member of the religious council said during one of our meetings? Why do you need a womb transplant? We have polygamy. Polygamy for women without wombs. As if we are nothing but vessels. As if our humanity, our dignity, our yearning, our motherhood can be outsourced to other women. Let me be clear. In my religion, the true context of polygamy is actually justice, responsibility, and protection, not convenience. And so finally, in 2025, this year, with my comrades from the Malaysian Rare Disorder Society, we carried our voices, our stories straight into the halls of Malaysian Parliament. We looked at ministers, MPs, policymakers in the eye, and we made them listen. But here's the thing. Toxic patriarchy doesn't end with ignorance. It grows into violence. Today in Malaysia, sexual violence, sexual harassment, sexual assault, gender-based crimes, these are on the rise. They are not slowing down. Girls are assaulted in schools, women violated in workplaces. This is not a women's issue. This is a national crisis. And we cannot afford silence anymore. What we need is a holistic, compassionate sex education. Now, not just biology, but consent literacy, body autonomy, and boundary awareness. Because if our children don't learn about their body with truth and dignity, they will learn through trauma. In the world, there are over 7,000 rare disorders. And the stigma that surrounds sex-related disorders is on a completely different level. Men have looked at me and women like me and thought we make perfect candidates for one-night stands. Relax, it's not like you're gonna get pregnant. And others, with their kinks, their curiosities, they all wanna know what no vagina looks like, fetishizing us and then shaming us for it. I was told not to marry. I was told that I don't deserve the things that normal girls and normal women deserve. But let me tell you this. I may not have a womb, but I have raised children. I may not bleed every month, but I have bled in other ways. I may not give birth, but I have birthed movements. And I do this through poetry, through words, through performance, through music. When I speak about MRKH, people ask me, if you don't have a vagina, how do you pee? This question is not stupidity. It's an evidence that our sex education has failed us. Because evidently there are many Malaysian men and women who do not know that females are born with 3 separate openings. And so for me, art, poetry, performance, storytelling is how I educate, how I advocate, how I reach people who would not read medical journals but would save with sound and visual. And it works. Because today, when people hear the word MRKH, they don't just hear silence. A lot of them, they hear stories. They hear us. So here I am, a woman born without, but also a woman born with. Maybe I was born without a uterus, but I was also born with my mother's resilience, with poetry in my bones, with fire in my voice, with a love so big it made me a mother even without a womb. I am not less of a woman. I am more. And I will keep on fighting until every girl like me knows that she is not alone. My name is Wani Ardy, and this is my type of love. And this is my type. Thank you.